And we get to the last kind of 2 steps of the plan, and this is where it kind of gets hard. By the way, this is what it looks like. Well, you know, it's just like Disney. You know, they don't put the same photos in the brochure, but trust me, it's just like Disney. You see these kind of temporary cities. You see the military vehicles in the foreground, big tents in the back, and then here, you know, here's a suite suitable for holding up to 75 people in one room. And it's nice, you know, just like camping, like a sleepover for 365 days. But it works out, so this is what you kind of live in while you're trying to get this ballet all tied together until you can go on and do great things. And now it starts getting a little tricky. Next. Here's where the friction goes in. So remember I said on the front side, we try to use a lot of civilian and commercial assets because we just don't have enough military assets. What we want to do is husband the military assets to push them forward to take care of business at the other end where things are not as predictable. And so if you're a guy like me, a customer that wants to get your stuff, if you're lucky, you're going to get these really high-speed Army trucks. Driven by Army people, it's designed to hold a tank, it ties down, works pretty good. The truth be told, you're more likely to get something like this. And this truck's out of Afghanistan, but it's not much different than most trucks in the Mideast. The things that should jump out at you, this has to get loaded by hand. So there's no pallets, there's no forklift, it gets loaded by hand. And they have modifications of this truck that are just stake bed trucks, just very flat. And you sit there and you're at the port and they grab those really cool mill vans. I'm like, oh, I love those mill vans because you know you can get a lot of stuff in them. And the crane puts them on the truck. And then you watch the guy take a clothesline. And I'm not kidding you, he'll throw the clothesline over the back and he'll tie it off with a really double super secret probation knot on one side. And he gets on the other side and he pulls it down and it's got a double secret probation knot on the other side. But it's a clothesline. I mean, it's a 10-ton mill van and he puts it on this truck that's flat and he's going to hold it on by, inshallah, the force of nature and a clothesline. And you can do the math, you know how this turns out like 1 out of 4 times. And then you factor in no right-of-way laws, no traffic, no safety. And a lot of times your stuff on these commercial trucks comes off at very inopportune times. But maybe it doesn't break down. Either way, you're stuck doing a lot of this by hand. And we rely on host nation capabilities, which are not standardized. So the mill vans I talked about here, they fit on semis, they fit on rail cars. We got special cranes that pick them up. When you get to the other end, they don't have the same standard configuration. And they certainly don't have the same control mechanism to keep track of it. Small percentage of stuff we can take care of in-house, but the host nation really picks up the slack for a lot of that. Okay, next. Then, so we've now got everybody together at the port, and we've got to push it out, and it works pretty good. And so personnel may often move forward by air, because not everybody has their own vehicles. We've got clerks, we've got mechanics, so they'll fly ahead by air either. And this is where you start seeing the Department of Defense, you know, kind of the true recruiting posters type stuff. This is where they earn their bread and butter. And then after I get like my truck off the boat, hey, I can drive back. But in between those two is how you get people from the port and that staging area and those camps to the final destination on where they gotta go. And then once they're there, then we're kind of back to doing the stuff that you kind of expect us to do where we take care of ourselves and get the job done. But from here to there, it's a team sport and a team effort. And there's a lot of moving pieces that have to tie it together, both in timing, both in equipment, and both in just versatility of the process. Do you have a question, sir? Okay, don't be scared. Just gonna make you come back up here and ask you. Okay, next. All right, my wife said to explain this photo. If you look real close to the white area, that's ice. You know, like that's special. Why is the ice on the ground? The reason, by the way, the reason you can't see the ice is because it's like 100 stinking plus degrees there and it just kind of washes everything out. So we had ice come in. So this is the ice, you know, like, well, that's a pretty stupid spot to put the ice. Well, not if this is your ice truck and you just lifted the boom and just dumped your ice on the ground where the dog can lick it while you pick it up and then the truck drives away. So I thought this was kind of, once you get there, you're still kind of relying on the host nation capability to do some things. And this is kind of where you're at. So it's the gift that keeps on giving.
On the container ship, when the containers were like falling over, wouldn't the people in the port know how many containers to put on the ship so they don't fall over instead of just...
That was a good question. How come the, can you go back to the container ship? Question was, at the port, do they know how many containers to put up there so this doesn't happen? In respect to the shipping industry, they generally do a good job. And I think there's just a certain amount of things you can't control. Because for these guys, this is a business. And so they're pretty good about it. But sometimes, just like the basement flooding, there's just certain things you can't control. And this is an example of it. Now, there may be a better way to do this, and that's what your guys' challenge is. But, you know, 99 out of 100, this part works. It's just how it connects to the other part that's kind of tricky. And one, thanks for supporting your Army as a recipient of that. I'm very humbled by the support we get from people like yourselves. 2, thanks for raising great kids. And 3, thanks for the sponsors that supported this, because I think that's just first class. I'll be around afterwards if you guys have any questions. And if you want to talk to my wife, she'll tell you how to make fun of me. And I'll turn it over to Mary.
I'm gonna introduce Rebekah Gendron, who is the other operational partner. Together, Rebekah and I plan the tournament for the state of Rhode Island, and she is going to go over the Smart Move table game for you. But before I let her do that, can you do one more slide? I want to thank all of our sponsors, especially Belize, where we are hosting here today. Thank you all. Thanks, Bob, and thanks back to Heidi for letting us use this beautiful space to talk to you all about the Smart Move Challenge. And also our other sponsors, you'll see their signs off and around all the place. Simolia, SolidWorks, and actually the coaches who were here who asked me for your SolidWorks software, I have it. See me after the event and I will give you your software, because Denise was able to get it for me so that I had it today. But all of our sponsors do a great job in supporting the Rhode Island First Lego League, so that we have a tournament, so that we have a season. So let's give a big round of applause to all of our sponsors. And here is Rebekah to talk to you more about the table game and the robots.
Thank you. You know, I've been running First Lego League for 8 years, and a lot of great things happened over those years. But I have to say, one of the best things, I'm going to give myself credit for this. One of the best things I've ever done was get Mary to come and work with me. So Mary, thank you very much for this great event. And do you guys need to stand up and stretch for a second? You've been sitting for a while. Anyone need to stand up and just stretch? Go ahead. Go ahead. I know for anyone who's new, how many new coaches do we have here? This is their first year in First Lego League. Hi everyone, welcome, welcome new coaches. You may leave here a little overwhelmed. There was a lot of information that was put out here today in a very quick manner. We will be having a coaches meeting. Mary's already sent out an email about that. So there'll be a coaches meeting for all coaches, new and old, and we will answer all your questions and give you other information. And the last thing I want to say to the coaches is, some of you still need to apply to the tournament. Registering for First Lego League is one thing, but you have to apply to get into the tournament. You will get in, but you still need to do that online. So if you have questions, see me about that afterwards. Okay, everything that Mary said today was absolutely spot on and perfect, except one thing. And that one thing she said, you have to start and end in base. And what's wrong with that sentence? Anyone know? Yeah, that's true, but that's not what's wrong with starting and ending in base. Yeah, that you should not end in base. Where should you end? You should end on the bridge or in the target area. If you end in base, you're going to lose a lot of points, because at the end of the 2.5 minutes, it depends where your robot ends up, whether you get extra points or not. And so we're going to talk about the robot game right now. The game is all about getting things, moving yourself around, getting to places, having access to things, avoiding things, and surviving impacts. And so there's a lot of stuff going on in the field here, and I need, where's Harry? Harry, would you be my volunteer over there to move some things around for me? Okay. So we're going to put Harry on there, and pick a robot, Harry, so you can demonstrate what it is.